there. That goes there. That goes there. All right, that should be good. What is going on? I did not tell anyone I was going live. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I'll do that right now. Maybe I'll do that right now. Yeah, why not? All right. Oops. Jasmine, what's going on? So is Atlanta getting snow in January? Possibly. I can't tell you for sure, but we're going to look at some of the... We're going to look at the most updated outlook here. I released my January outlook after maybe like a week late, but you know, it's out there. It's on my YouTube, my January outlook. Snowing for snow and cold air. Okay. Let some people get in here. We got some stuff to talk about. Laddie, what's going on? KJ, what is poppin'? Cut the live before Discord. Nice. Before I hopped on there. I see snow for central New Jersey. It's possible. Gonna be tough though. Brady, what's poppin'? How much will it snow in New York City on Friday? We'll look at the totals. Do you think Dallas Fort Worth is getting snow this winter? I think it has a lower chance than normal, but La Nina winters can bring very, very weird weather patterns with all, you know, these stratospheric polar vortex breakdowns that we continue to see. A very slow stratospheric polar vortex. Let me move over here real quick. Why does this feel low? Am I going crazy? So here's the expected snow amounts. About a dusting down here, southern PA, northern Maryland, central Jersey. We get up to around an inch as we get closer to Long Island, New York City, Allentown potential. Good snow looks to land just to the northwest of the Hudson Valley. Scranton up to Binghamton, up to Syracuse. Not too bad. 2 to 5 inches in there maybe, and then obviously some good snow in the higher elevations in inner New England up here. You know, this system does want to bring potentially up to 10 inches to coastal Maine. Look at Portland, Maine here, 5 inches. Not bad. Portsmouth, 3 inches. High-end totals. Don't do that to me. Come on. Here's the high-end totals. Here's the possibility on the high end, guys. Let me move my picture over here so you guys can see this a little bit better. Boop. Now I'm over there. So you guys can see the little the thing on the side there. So it's going to be tough, obviously. You can see there for Philly to really get much, or central Jersey, but you could see a little bit. Yali, what's cracking? There's going to be snow in Tennessee. When's there going to be snow in Tennessee? Orlando, Florida, January 28th. Probably going to be really hot. Well, we'll see. I don't want to predict. I'm not going to give a forecast 2.5, 3 weeks out, you know. Emmanuel, what's going on? What's going on, Blondie? I appreciate that. Do you think DFW is getting snow? Yeah, I talked about that. I see 4 to 8 inches for 4 to 8 inches right now for central New Jersey on Friday. 4 to 8 inches for central New Jersey on Friday. Yeah, look, you're just getting these storms kind of lined up out there right now, right? Isn't that interesting? I think that's kind of wishful thinking. Right now, for central Jersey, like I said, National Weather Service is thinking maybe you get a dusting. We'll take a look at some models here. You saw a foot in New Jersey Friday? What? Let's see what the NAM thinks. Winter. There we go. The NAM doesn't put any snow in New Jersey. There you go. I mean, northern Jersey it does, but doesn't really put any in central Jersey. Full crowd I see tonight. Yeah. Well, I've been having issues streaming with my workload. My end of the year workload. I've got 3 days left of work in 2025. I've also got a ton of leave and PTO I could take in 2026. Amp up my streams, videos. Brenny, Marissa, what is popping? But yeah, that's let's take a look at the Euro though. The Euro, again, not seeing too much for Central Jersey, unfortunately. What model showed you all of that snow? Oh, you guys looking at? Oh my gosh, are you guys looking at the GFS? This is just the GFSing, unfortunately, I think, guys. I don't know about this right here. Let's take a look at it. Maybe. Yeah. This would be good. I mean, this would be good. Now, you'd have extremely warm air and rain right behind it. So, that'd be a mess for you guys. But, man, yeah. You see how the GFS plays this out on Friday? Now, let's take a look how the Euro plays it out. Oh, it's still loading here. Let's go back to the 12Z. Here's how the Euro plays it out. Ice storm. For Jersey. Unfortunately, Clippers usually aren't as nice to you guys. But we'll see. We'll see. The GFS has been correct sometimes when I thought it would be wrong this year. Let's take a look at our GraphCast. Let's take a look at the GraphCast. And, I mean, this is next-gen models, right? This is the one that's supposed to be right about everything. Interesting here. Now, you can't see on here precipitation type, but what I can see is my 540 line. Here's my freezing line. Now, it doesn't mean it's freezing at the surface above this line. It means it's freezing in the mid layers of the troposphere. So what happens right before this line gets here? Are we cold? Here's the issue. Thursday. Here's the issue. This is going to put some warmer surface air on the ground through this region here. Warmer surface air on the ground. You get into Friday. You're still really, really not too cold there. And then you get this storm. The problem here is you're cold aloft Friday on the GraphCast. You're cold aloft. You might be above freezing on the surface. And then that's ice and sleet instead of snow. Let's take a look at the 540 line on the GraphCast. Now let's take a look at the GFS. Interesting. Now let's take a look at the Euro. And it's still not loaded all the way through. Let's go back to the Euro at that time frame. Yeah, you can see where the Euro wants to have that 540 line. Kind of south as well. But again, it's keeping that surface warmer. Let's look at the Euro AI. If you don't get a ton of snow, it's because your surface temperature. You're going to have cold enough air aloft on Friday for a foot of snow in central Jersey. I agree with the GFS on that. You're going to have cold enough air aloft for a foot of snow in central Jersey on Friday. I'm not quite buying you're going to have cold enough air on the surface for it. So that's my thoughts on that. But wait till we get within 48 hours and we'll nail it down. We'll know. How much snow will there be on Long Island? Okay, let's take a quick look at some of our winter. I want to kind of go over everything I think right now, but here's kind of the snow expectations from the Euro model. Let's not go out. Let's go out 10 days. Let's go out 10 days through New Year's Day. Okay. It likes 3 to 6 inches Long Island. It likes some good snow for New England, including the coast. Northern PA, Michigan, a little bit of snow in northern Ohio. Wisconsin gets it on the action. Central to southern Minnesota, far northern Minnesota. South Dakota looks good. And then obviously tons of snow out west, especially in the Sierra Nevada. Holy smokes. GFS tilts our snow a little bit farther out to the east and leaves us dry in the center of the country. Notice that? Big difference between the GFS and the Euro here. GFS displaces a lot more cold air here. The Euro has our polar jet beginning to fall, flatten like this, bringing clippers through this region. The GFS sees a ridge beginning to build up, positive PNA, and it's not allowing these clippers to push through here. It's tilting them out towards the east coast. So that's interesting there. I don't believe... I can't see snow totals on the GraphCast on this model. 18Z of this. Let's see what the 18Z Euro thinks, guys. Let's see what the 18Z... What if the 18Z Euro suddenly agrees with the GFS for Friday? Here's what we're going to do. Look at the positioning of this on the 18Z for Friday. Euro. Now let's go straight to the GFS. Look at that positioning. Actually, I'm just going to open another browser to make it easier. Well, no, I'm not. All right. Okay. GFS has the back of this ridge flat. Much flatter. You can see here through Wisconsin. Notice where that is? So this is sinking down quicker, this cold air. Watch this ridge here push up on the Euro. Watch this be more of a ridge on the Euro. There it is. Yeah. So here's our warm air on the Euro. And that warm air is a little bit compressed down to the south on the GFS like this. If the GFS is correct, yeah, maybe you get some good snow there. Central Jersey and New York City, Long Island. But it's going to be a close call. I've never seen the models disagree so much, by the way, in the midterm here. Take a look at the Euro. December 28th, 29th, 30th. Look at this positive PNA and absolute just barrage of cold air and potential snow into the east. Now let's look at our GFS here. Massive ridging out west. Ready? Look at or really across the plains. Look at this. It's actually, the 18Zs start to agree a tiny bit more with the Euro, but the Euro doesn't see our ridge extending like this for this long. It sees our ridge collapsing like this. But the 18Zs actually started to agree with the Euro a little bit more. New York City snow for Friday. Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about that. The 18Z is loading right now. I mean, the Euros still might be nice to New York City on Friday. Look at that. Is that down from the 12Z? Let's see. What did the 12Z see? Oh, boy. Our snow line is shifting south on the Euro. Oh, boy. I don't know if it gets all the way down to Philly, but it just dropped a little bit. Look at the 12Z and look at the 18Z. Watch the snow line shift south, guys. Ooh. This would be really nice for New York City. Potentially. I'm talking 6 to 12 inches in that area if this were to happen. 8 to 12. Anyone who comes in my live streams and watches my videos knows I called for another mid-Atlantic snowstorm before December was over. And it looked really gloom because everyone was like, torch, absolute torch to the east. The east is going to be burning and on fire for the rest of December. Not quite. Not quite. This would be such a good call. Because I called that while all the models were calling heat in the mid-Atlantic for the rest of December. I said I still think we're going to get... Because there was just such a sign for a negative NAO, and cold air is going to return to the east if that triggers before January, and it's gonna. Looks like it's gonna. But that'd be good. This is the second snowstorm I was keying at there. God, with the direction that the Euro's going now, this is starting to look much better for Central Jersey, New York City, Long Island. Wow. Yeah, this would be absolutely terrible, though. This is ice. We don't want that, guys. Is the Euro still loading? Let's see. This is getting really interesting now. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is 2-inch-an-hour snow right through New York City on the latest model. All right, let's take a look at the what the Euro thinks now. I don't love off-hour runs, but still. This is a big update from the Euro, but it's 12Z to 18Z, let's be honest. New York City, we're looking at 5 to 8 inches Friday, if this is correct. Long Island, 7 to 9 inches, if this is correct. Philly tries to get in on an inch of snow. Central Jersey, now suddenly the Euro saying 3 to 4 inches is possible. Whereas you go to last run, look at last run. That snow shifted way north. Let's push this down. Actually, it wasn't too bad, but it's coming south now. You can see how far that snow is wanting to shift south now. And does the trend continue? Sometimes if you get one shift, the shift continues over models. The 00Z for you folks out here, I would even say from Baltimore. You never know. I would say from Baltimore to Boston is extremely important. The 00Z Euro tonight. Savior, Mystical, and I'm going to talk about everywhere else across the states too, guys, not just the Mid-Atlantic. Give me a second. Savior, what is it? Is it Mrs. Bryan? Jasmine, B, what's going on? What is going on, guys? You don't want ice. No, we don't want ice. We do not want ice. We had to be in tonight after missing so bad. Yeah, that one stream, someone goes, where are the mods? And I hadn't even noticed. I was like, oh yeah, where are the mods? It's very rare that I don't have any mods in my stream, so I don't really care. Mid Minnesota weather. Well, here's let's take a look at the 18Z for Minnesota here. Interesting what's happening here this Saturday evening up in Minnesota this weekend. Although you don't see a big snowstorm through here, you do have a nice sharp Bear Clinic boundary here. This is an amplified trough trying to dig into our ridge. So I'd say pay attention up here. You could end up getting a snowstorm through this region. But going back to the 12Z, you get some nice, really nice. If the 12Z is correct, the 12Z Euro here, if it's onto something, look at midnight on New Year's Eve. This is like at 12 when the ball drops, like right around that time. Look at the snow falling. That whole region. This would be at pretty much midnight on New Year's Eve. You could have snow falling in Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, Sioux Falls. We'll see. I know a ton of different places, and then moving out to the east for New Year's Day. Look at that. So interesting there on the 12Z Euro. Yeah, I mean we see snow headed back towards Minnesota here. We'll have to see the angles here, and then you can see you get out farther around January 3rd, January 4th, and you could get a big blizzard set up there in Minnesota as well. So good opportunities for you guys in Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, maybe even Des Moines heading forward here. Philly snow soon? Well, again, we're talking about Friday. The GFS. Well, does the GFS put snow in Philly too? I think it keeps it just to the north of Philly. You probably want to be just to the north of Philly. The GFS, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. The GFS puts the snow so far to the south. It's outperformed the Euro. The Euro has still outperformed the GFS this winter, but the GFS this winter has done better than I've seen it do, or has beat the Euro more this year than I've seen it in any other year. Even though the Euro's still winning. The GFS has done a great job. The GFS sees 7 inches into Philadelphia on Friday, into Saturday morning, or on Friday. But again, you take a look at the Euro here. Pushes that snow to the north. Very interesting, though. The 00Z tonight of the GFS and Euro are going to tell a pretty good story. We're going to be getting really close to our, that 72-hour time frame. We're going to start seeing what the National Weather Service thinks about it. We already took a look at that. I don't even think this isn't even accounting for that storm. This is the storm before it. Tomorrow, the National Weather Service is going to tell us what they think about this region for Friday. The storm is trending south, Fabio. Yeah, the snow is trending south. This was the last Euro run. See it? See how far it's farther north? Now it's farther south. Got the GFS 18Z trending the snow south as well. I'm not fully buying the GFS here though, but you can see what's happening on the GFS in the mid to long range here. Could be nice for you guys. Philly deserves a blizzard. I agree, it does. We've had about 15 inches of snow here. Minneapolis Metro, 16 inches of snow. But we're down to like 2 inches on the ground. Most of it's melted. And we have the hottest day we've had here in the last month and a half is like 42 degrees. That's like the hottest we've been, but slowly melting away. We're barely going to have a white Christmas. I think we'll still have a white Christmas. We'll have at least an inch on the ground, but it's going to be close. Will it snow in Dallas? Listen, there's no snow in the forecast for Dallas right now, but, well, actually, the Euro saw something crazy in the south, didn't it? Was it the 12Z? Was it the GFS? Or one of these runs saw crazy snow in the south. When was it? Was it the GFS 6Z? Which run was it? Was it the Euro 00Z? One of them saw snow in the south here. Yeah, you see this. The Euro, we woke up this morning and the Euro was like, hey, we're getting Oklahoma and Kansas snow. Interesting. I do want to talk about what's happening in January here. I do want to, I'm going to keep taking questions. I do want to quickly go over a little bit of a climatological look here because January does look to start off active. It looks like we could get very cold through the second and third week of January. I know the Climate Prediction Center doesn't agree with me, but that's what I'm seeing. And then end of January, we look active with snowstorms again. But I just released a January outlook, and I kind of want to run through that with you guys. And I'll first start with giving you my New Year's Eve forecast, which models I think are correct and which are incorrect. But then we are going to do the climatological outlook. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for something. All right. All right. I swear to God, I've been wearing the same thing every single day. All right. Okay. Quickly, New Year's Eve forecast for everyone. Climatological outlook for January. Let me get back to answering some questions real quick here. I know everyone's got questions. Yes, snow cream is made with snow, vanilla flavoring, sugar, sweetener, condensed milk. Yeah. Yes, snow cream's legit. What's going on, NTX? I appreciate you. What is poppin', NTX? Okay. So what do I think for New Year's Eve? Well, let's take a look at our ensembles. European ensemble. Here we go. What does the European ensemble think here? 12Z. Okay. Midnight on New Year's Eve. Here's our European ensemble. Here's our 540 line. Odds are, if you're north of that line, you could be sitting in some below average temperatures, okay? Now, the European ensemble doesn't see a lot of moisture out here. European control does. Let's take a look at the temperature anomalies here. Yep. Yep. Okay. European ensemble. Here we go. There it is. New Year's Eve, midnight on the European ensemble. You're to the east of that line, north or east there. Pretty chilly New Year's Eve. Now, this is an ensemble, though. I want to take a look at the GFS ensemble, too. I mean, notice quite a sharp difference. Quite a sharp difference in the ensembles here. The GFS sees it very warm up here, and this is what I was talking about. The GFS does buy this big ridge building up into the plains. European does better with temperatures typically. So we're going to stick with the Euro. So we're going to look at the Euro. And really quickly, Fade, what is going on? Fade just became a member of the Climate Crew. You've already been a member of the Climate Crew. Fade, what's going on? I appreciate you. Okay, so let's look at the European. I want to look at the European 18Z. We see what happens right here as we get into the 28th, a few days before New Year's Eve. Lots of cold air diving in here. We'll see what happens with the. This could end up being a severe weather day as well this weekend for portions of the Ohio Valley, Dixie Alley, maybe even up in the Mid-Atlantic. We'll see. 12Z. I don't know. I buy the cold air here, and this is what this is the model I'm taking right now for New Year's Eve. I buy the cold air here. I don't fully buy the precipitation, not just because it's harder to see it that far out, but my question is, and let's zoom out a little bit. This is on New Year's Eve. My question is, does this kind of atmospheric river funnel over the mountains here in Western Canada and keep that energy as it rides New Year's Eve over the Northern Plains and Midwest? I think it's going to be difficult for it to do that. I think if we get moisture here on New Year's Eve, we're going to need a little bit of help from a storm system from the south. But I do think overall, cooler temperatures out in this region here. You're more likely to be cold out here for New Year's Eve, more likely to be warm out here. Models pretty much agree on that. The GFS kind of wants this area to be warmer, right? The GFS thinks this area is actually going to be warmer. There's a little bit of battle there, but overall, I think the Euro's doing a pretty good job there. Let's take a look at the Euro temperature anomalies here for New Year's Eve. Here you go. Below average. This is not too hot. I mean, you're running maybe 5 degrees above average here, 3 degrees above average here. So really, for the most part, the north and east are pretty cool around average temperature. Obviously, Southern Plains, the Euro model has absolutely scorching. Southwest Southern Plains scorching on New Year's Eve. But that cold air is pushing in. And look, you get a little bit of relief down there in the Southern Plains and Southeast here as we get into January 2nd. So cold air wise, that's what I'm thinking. If someone's going to see snow on New Year's Eve, we see the pattern that's setting up. We see the negative NAO locking in. If someone's going to see snow on New Year's Eve, you're probably going to be in here. Again, I don't buy the GFS putting a ridge up here. I do think the Dakotas, Montana could get in on some snow on New Year's Eve, and I do think we could drop down here. So now let's take a look really quickly at a few things. Teleconnections, this is really important. Where? Oh, yeah, they changed where everything is on here. It keeps confusing me. All right. Teleconnections. European weeklies. Arctic oscillation. Now, the mean stays negative as we push in. Stays negative for most of January, but you have this kind of very variable. We rarely see something like this. If this did happen, though, this would probably call for some active troughing and for some good winter storms if we did see our AO fluctuating like this. Polar jet strengthening and weakening. Very variable polar jet. Let's look at our NAO. Notice our NAO mean as well wants to try and stay negative. Although this weeklies has really pushed our NAO positive. Let me look at the GFS ensemble. Yeah, I actually buy the GFS here a little bit more. I don't think we're going to go super positive with the NAO in January. So overall, and I said this in my January outlook, January looks below average temperature-wise for a good portion of the states. Hey, Nikki, what's going on? Welcome to the Climate Crew. I appreciate you. I appreciate that, Nikki. January looks cold to me. Again, and let's look at our Arctic oscillation. You can see what's happening on the GFS here. Again, our means on the NAO and Arctic oscillation are not super negative, but they're pretty negative through January. You're going to take that and say, okay, I can see us going through January seeing average to below average temperatures. And if you take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center thinks, Take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center thinks. Here's their December outlook temperature-wise. Now, if you're down here, this is barely above average, right? This really light orange here. So that's not too bad. But for the most part, the Climate Prediction Center is saying most of the country is going to be average to below average. Obviously, below average up here. Pretty La Nina look. I think we trend slightly colder than this. I think we trend slightly colder than that. Here's what's interesting. If you have a negative NAO and a negative AO, on average, you're probably going to see colder, stormier conditions out east. But the problem is our PNA. Our PNA stays negative on the GFS. Our PNA stays negative on the Euro weeklies. What does this mean? Cold air and moisture funneling in from the west, trying to funnel across the states, but more of a zonal flow, right? So instead, if this is the United States, we're just going to draw it. If this is the United States, oh my God, what? That's not how Texas is shaped at all. Whatever. And I forgot Maine. If this is the United States, instead of getting troughing like this, where you can really dig cold air into the south, you can get big snowstorms. Our polar jet could just set up very far south, meaning you get cold from coast to coast, but you're not really seeing as much snow. That's my only concern with January. I'm not worried about it being... Oh, Nikki. Nikki with the $5 super chat. Nikki, I really, really appreciate that. Hi, Connor. Love your videos. I appreciate that. I've been slacking off. I'm supposed to post 7 days a week. I've been posting like 3 or 4 days a week, but don't worry. That will be corrected. End of the year is super busy for me, so that'll be correct. I'll get back to posting 7 days a week. Nikki, I appreciate you. But yes, so below average, if you're looking forward to, especially I know if you're in the portions of the plains and south, if you're looking forward to some cooler temperatures in January, I think we're gonna have that. I'm nervous because if we just hold in this negative PNA pattern, well, congratulations, Rockies. Congratulations out west. You're going to get good snow if we hold in a negative PNA pattern here. Especially, well, what's our EPO doing with the weeklies? Especially if you have your EPO. Look at our mean sitting up here. Interesting. So our ensemble kind of sitting to the north there. Positive EPO and a negative PNA. You get a lot of snow out west in the mountains. The thing is, though, if we see any kind of trigger with this PNA, let's look at that. Let's look at the GFS. Let's look at our ensembles moving forward. GFS deterministic. So even the GFS deterministic, if this were to happen, oops, PNA, and we start to get a ridge building out west, and we know that we're going to probably see cooler conditions and maybe an extended period of a negative NAO in January, this would mean big snowstorms for the east. So and I said that in my January outlook. I said, I'm looking at one thing moving forward for the next week. I'm looking at if our Pacific North American oscillation is going to go positive, because that would completely change what we see in January. That would bring all the snow we need, at least if you're in the east. Fabian, I appreciate that. Appreciate the sub. Appreciate the follows, guys. So anyways, and I'm going to get back to your questions here. I did just want to... But that's my thought. If I were to summarize all my thoughts for January right now, January looks below average as a month. I think we could see above average snow the first week, above average snow the fourth week. We could get into a kind of cold zonal flow in the middle of January. Unless, and I think the West could do really good in January, unless you get this ridge building out west. And if that ridge decides to build out west, again, big snowstorms for the east is what you see. So I can't decide. The models can't decide. I can't decide. Well, the models are saying we're not going to get a positive PNA. To me, though, I'm 60-40 that we will get a positive PNA, meaning I'm 60-40. I'm more confident that we're going to see a ridge out here for at least a week or two during January that sets up an active pattern out east again. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what that just comes from me looking at the 500 millibar ensembles between the GFS and Euro. I'm seeing potentially a little bit of blocking down here to the south. We'll see. All right, guys, what's going on? Philly snow predictions. The GFS wants you to see 7 inches, 6 to 7 inches in Philadelphia on Friday. I think it's being too aggressive. You have a lot of warm air. Here's the GFS, right? Here's the GFS for Friday. Let's get to it. Here's the GFS for Friday. This is a lot of warm air pushing up into this system. You're going to be cold enough aloft in Philly for good snow, but you're going to have warm air, I think above freezing air for quite a while in Philly on the surface. So all this orange sleet mix, again, let's see the 00Z GFS and Euro tonight. National Weather Service will put out what they think tomorrow on the probabilistic portal for this storm. If I had to guess right now, if I had to guess, I'd say Philly gets a dusting to an inch of snow on Friday. Although models are trending up for snow in Philly. So that's good. My opinion could change, but right now that's what I'm thinking. A dusting to an inch. New York City, if I had to guess right now, I would say 4 inches of snow on Friday. Pretty. Yeah. No big snowstorms for the southern plains. Not in the immediate. Again, this is interesting. What's happening here? Look at your GFS wanting to give you some sort of nor'easter setup there. January 6th, January 7th. The European does see a pretty steep collapsing polar jet down to the south. And if that does happen, you can see this right here. Look at this as we get out very far in the Euro, but this is believable to me because we have a stratospheric polar vortex breakdown right now that's occurring. Much slower than normal, those winds. And Nikki, $2 super chat. Models underestimate cold. Yes. Yes, they do. Models consistently underestimate cold, especially the Euro. Especially the Euro, which is our good model. But that's the one thing it does. It typically underestimates cold. Nikki, I appreciate that $2 super chat. But yeah, so we see Europe getting very, very cold here in a few days. Typically a 5 to 10 day lagging event. If they get very cold in Europe, we get very cold in the US. I explained why in my video. It's a little complicated, or I kind of explained why. That combined with our stratospheric polar vortex, which is pretty slow right now, I fully buy into this collapsing polar jet zonal flow right here. This happens 100%. You can get snow along this baroclinic boundary in here, right in that region. Right in that region, you can get snow. Portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, maybe even northern Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. I mean, you could get snow in there if this happens, which I buy this type of setup getting out in a couple weeks. I do. We'd like to have a sub tropical jet activated because you get a subtropical I can't talk. You get a subtropical jet activated at the same time. Could be good snow for the south there into the second week of January. Interesting little setup. We'll see. Could this January be a record-breaking cold January? I saw this December being potentially record-breaking cold, and up until this point, for the East, and up until this point, it's pretty much been a record-breaking cold December. But this ridging at the end is going to take away that opportunity to have it as a whole, as an average, be record-breaking, but still very cold. It's going to end up being very cold December out East. If we were to take a look, since the first of the month, and we look at departure from normal temperatures, obviously, we've been very cold out East. Very, very cold out East in December. Do I think January is going to look like this? No. I actually think January we could see maybe running 0 to 6 degrees below average, more of in a zonal type of flow like this from coast to coast. But if that happens, that's going to ruin our snow chances. Yeah, it's been very, very cold in December out East. So what did our 18Z Euro end up doing here snow-wise? I think we looked at it. Oh my gosh, look at the end of the 18Z as well. Is that different from the 12Z Euro? Same thing. Okay, so it's still confirming this. I mean, look what's happening right here on the 18Z Euro. Trying to get some snow in the back end of this. Start to head out towards Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. Minnesota's determined to not have a white Christmas, though. I know we get a white Christmas 75% of the time. Southern Minnesota might not have one. Minneapolis and North may have an inch of snow on the ground. I still got a few inches in my backyard, but it's melting quickly. My front yard that's facing the sun, there's like barely anything left. My backyard that's in the shade behind my house, there's like that much snow on the ground because it's in the shade. Does record-breaking winters equal or early spring? Well, we're going to be still probably in a neutral entering spring, neutral pushing, trying to push into El Nino. Whoa, Patrick. Welcome back. What's going on? $10 super chat. What are the chances that the Worcester, Massachusetts area gets 4+ inches before the end of December? Let me pull that up right here real quick, Worcester. You guys are like central there. Well, in the short term, let's just quickly take a look at what's happening. National Weather Service probabilistic. Oops. Here, and let's go here. Okay, so right here, within the next 72 hours, the National Weather Service thinks you guys are probably going to see 2 to 4 inches of snow within the next 72 hours. Now, after this, we get back into, let's go back, look at the latest Euro and push back up there into New England. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let's go New England. All right. Here's the latest updated Euro. There's your 3 to 4 inches of snow there. Now, this Clipper system could definitely dive south and give more snow into Massachusetts. This is interesting. Let's take a look at this storm, and let's just take a look at this storm by itself. So 24-hour snowfall. Okay, I'll look at 48. So, according to the Euro likes another... If you're lucky with the setup and the snow bands here, Worcester, Massachusetts could see 8 inches of snow before the end of December. If you're unlucky, I still think you see at least 3 inches before the end of December. Like if you have some pretty bad luck with snow, I still think you probably see at least 3 inches before the end of December. But if you're lucky, yeah, 8+ inches is on the table for you guys. Here's our GFS, that same time frame. All right, let's zoom out here. Yeah. I appreciate everyone being extremely generous lately. Patrick, I appreciate you. Nikki. Anyone else? Yeah, I appreciate you guys. No, for Christmas, unfortunately, again, we've got a really annoying ridge. Really bad timing for Christmas. This is Christmas right now. Christmas afternoon, Christmas evening. Pretty big ridge. Lots of warm air. Some cold air, maybe a little bit of snow. Up into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. Upstate New York there. Northern upstate New York. But we're pretty dry, pretty hot across southeast plains. Lots of snow. Lots of low elevation rain out west on Christmas. Nick, okay. Okay. No, yeah, no, it happens all the time because I have like multiple YouTubes and things with different names. So it's, it's like, I get it. That was the same thing with my mods. My mods, I didn't like know any of their real names at first. I was like, because half of them had a different name on YouTube or TikTok. I was like, what are your names? All right, Nick. Oh, I see. Nick YouTube. Oh, I see. Nikki T. Kind of like Nikki T, though. Nick YouTube. Yeah, no, Nikki T rolls off the tongue. Nice. Gemini user, what's going on? I appreciate you guys. Random Rambler. What's poppin'? Joshua, I appreciate you guys. I know some of you gifted. I missed that. I apologize for that. Living Large. Cannon. Boston. What do we think about Boston snow? I'll cheat a little bit here. Let's just look at the total Kuchera for Boston snow as we get through the end of December here. We'll cheat. We'll go up to New England. Euro's a pretty good snow model, right? It's not the end. It's not too bad to take a look at the Euro 230 hours out and see where it likes snow. I mean, the Euro likes, of course, this is what the Euro likes. The Euro likes 6 to 7 inches of snow into Boston. Before the end of... Guys, this is through New Year's Eve, right? So from right now, December 22nd, this is... If you're up in the Northeast, I keep getting a lot of questions about up here. This is where the Euro likes snow. Through New Year's Eve. Now, the GFS pushes some of the snow a little bit farther south. You see that? GFS really pushes that snow farther south for the end of the year. I'm kind of rooting for the GFS because I really, really was buying into, and I've really, really, I spoke about it. I thought we'd have another good opportunity for snow in the Mid-Atlantic. Now, this would be the northern Mid-Atlantic, but New York City, Philly, this would be Mid-Atlantic snow. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be for Baltimore, D.C., portions of Virginia, but give me snow January 5th through the 10th in Kansas. That time frame might actually not too be bad. With everything I've been talking about today, the January 5th through the 10th, with the setup I expect, I actually think you actually probably could get snow in Kansas in that time frame. But just based on, again, I talked about our European model seeing the collapsing zonal polar jet, and that would give you the opportunity for snow through portions of the central to southern plains. Go GFS, yeah. New Year's Eve snow total for New York City. Well, I'm not seeing it snowing on New Year's Eve in New York City, but we could have snow on the ground on New Year's Eve in New York City. There you go. Here's what the Euro thinks. New Year's Eve, midnight. Now, do we get this jet popping a little bit farther south? Do we get a little bit more moisture along this area? Maybe. Maybe you get a little bit of snow New Year's Eve in the Mid-Atlantic here. It's possible. Taking a look at the GFS, comparing it. We've got this low pressure system to the north. We'd want this a little farther south. You'd want a little bit of moisture pull off the Atlantic here. But yeah, could we have snow on the ground in New York City on New Year's Eve? I think there's a real possibility for that. Yeah. Because even though you get a little bit of, even if you get good snow here, which I think you'll get some snow here accumulating on the 27th, 28th, you get a quick warm up, but then you get a lot of cold air that's going to keep that snow on the ground potentially all the way through New Year's Eve. We don't go by our government names. GFS for ice and snowstorm on January 6th to 7th. Oh yeah, right. I'm not gonna really buy this. Very weak troughing here. So very weak troughing. You can see how far these isobars are apart. That's a sloppy setup. I'm not gonna really buy that quite yet. But that would give you. I mean, hey, a little bit of southern snow there, Mid-Atlantic snow. We'll see. Not buying into that yet. Talk about Pagosa Springs, Colorado weather, boy. Well, look at all the snowfall for the mountains out in Colorado potentially here in the short term. Let's go to our European 12Z. Good funnel right there this weekend of snow into the mountains. Lowland, low elevation snow though. Colorado, it's going to be tough. The end of the Euro run here as we get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th of January. Again, if we get that collapsing polar jet, the mountains, I think, and we get a negative PNA. This is a negative PNA look. You could get low elevation snow in Colorado. You could get a lot of snow piling up in Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho. Potentially even a little bit down there into New Mexico and Arizona. This is a good look for southern snow, even though it would be with a zonal type of flow and a collapsed polar jet like this, you wouldn't get a big snowstorm. This does give you the opportunity for, again, snow down here in this region. Could Georgia be looking at winter storm warnings? Not anytime in the short term. January, again, collapsing polar jet. We could get something. We could get something down there in the south. Can I do Cancun? I mean, we could take a look just at the Euro here and see what it sees. Right now, it likes some thunderstorms down there in Cancun. Pretty nice weather, other than the 30th, 29th and 30th of December, and then it looks pretty calm down there in Cancun overall. You're not seeing any low pressure systems, storm systems moving in. And temperatures, you don't really need to worry in Cancun. You're going to be warm. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice in Cancun. Yeah, no problem. How far out is this accurate? Like 80% plus? Well, it's never 100% accurate at any range because there's so much going on. But if you say, when do we consider it forecast range? I'll start forecasting around 140 hours. I'll take something very seriously. I'll say that's not me. Temperature-wise, I'll start forecasting out here, 220 hours out. Because troughs and ridges are large systems, and it's easier to see how these large systems are going to interact and move around. Temperature-wise, you can start trying to forecast out around 200 hours. If you're talking about localized precipitation, the farthest out you want to be is 140. You really want to be within 72 to 96 hours, though, right? 3 to 4 days. Now, if I look out here and I see at 220 hours out, the Euro, the GFS, and the Canadian all see the same exact thing, which sometimes they do, and we have strong model agreement 220 hours out, then I do take precipitation and cold. I start to take it pretty seriously at that time frame. If you have no model consensus, though, you're not going to take, it really depends. Do the models agree? If they agree, they're all catching on to something that is likely a strong signal. If the models disagree farther out, there's not a strong signal for anything, and you're kind of just throwing, what's it called? Like, I was trying to give an analogy here, like blindfold throwing a dart at a dartboard. If the models aren't agreeing out there at that time frame, if they're agreeing, they're seeing something. It's a stronger signal. Girlin, what is poppin'? Let me see this here real quick. My lips are so chapped. I need chapstick. All right. Let me see. Let me go to... I want to show you guys something interesting. Let's just have some fun here. Look at our European weekly control. All right, let's look at the European weekly control. 7-day snow. All right, just show you what the extended European control model thinks for snow. This is from right now through the 29th. Okay, we're going to move this forward. You can see where... Interesting, right? Look what happens here. This would be January 4th to January 11th. End of the first week going into the second week of January. Snowstorm for the plains, maybe. That's interesting on the Euro. Lots of snow out west, mid-January, and this is exactly what I was talking about. If we get a negative PNA, we're going to pile up snow in the west, but I still think it'll be cold out here. I just don't think we'll have the moisture for it. Yes, the European control, I like this. It's agreeing with me. And this is what I hate to see. Well, I love to see that the European control agrees with my outlook for January. That's great. But again, if we do get a negative PNA, we don't get a ridge building out here. Snow for the west. And you would say, okay, we probably warm out here, right? We're like pushing through January. We're getting no snow out here. No, I still think it'd be cold. I think we're not going to have any moisture to tap into. But again, I'm starting to lean towards a ridge out west, at least for a week or two. We'll see when it happens in January. That's going to give us a good snow pattern out east. So I don't fully buy this this hole of no snow in January out here. I think that's kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that. But the West in general looks pretty good. The West, you know what? The West needs it. The West has been in a scorcher all of December. So the West looks pretty good, at least to kick off January. January 2nd weather in Washington. It's going to be tough. I mean, we're talking 10, 11 days out, but I'll show you what the models are reading right now. Here's the European. As we get into January 1st, 2nd, big storm, cold air, tons and tons. It was complete washout, low elevation with rain, maybe a little low elevation snow if you have this troughing, but it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess on January 2nd up there. Oh, Washington, D.C. Oh, you guys look cold and dry. Well, we'll see. The timing of this trough is gonna really decide because. Again, you get a little bit of a subtropical flow here. Who knows? You could have severe weather with snow on the back end in DC January 2nd. So this trough speeds up, it's going to be cold and dry. If it slows down, it's going to be warm and dry. If it shows up exactly how it's showing on the model right now, DC might want to watch out on January 2nd. here's what's happening as we get in. Here's what's happening on January 1st. You have a lot of cold air pushing down into the southeast. So depends when this front moves over you, but looks like a nice front wants to move over around January 2nd, DC. Yeah, no problem. Will Dallas-Fort Worth ever get snow? It's tough. I mean, I've talked about this. Collapsing polar jet zonal flow here gives you an opportunity for snow in the south. So, to be honest, though, you kind of want a ridge building out east to get it right through there, right through Dallas. That was actually funny. Air Tanzer, Gemini, I appreciate you. I haven't seen that one before. Appreciate you, Gemini. Yeah, I mean, your chances aren't over for snow. Your winter's not over in Dallas. You could definitely see snow, but it's just tougher right now. It's holding in a weak La Nina. New Jersey this weekend. Man, the GFS wants to put 8+ inches of snow Friday into New Jersey. The Euro keeps it a little bit farther north. The Euro likes central to northern Jersey. 3 to 6 inches. Our 00Z, like I said, Euro and GFS tonight will be really important, and the National Weather Service will give us their opinion on snow totals, which I'll talk about in my live tomorrow in video for Friday in Jersey. Next snow for Aspen. You know, I used to have a shirt that said, "How's your Aspen?" My mom got it for me. Next snow for Aspen. Could get some nice snow right here this weekend. Could get some really good snow in Aspen right there this weekend. But then after that, January 3rd, January 4th. This is getting a little far. I can't totally buy this, but this would be a ton of snow for the Colorado Rockies there as well. Yeah, we can take a look at the Canadian. Here's the Canadian 12Z. You don't want to look at the Canadian if you want snow in Jersey or Philly on Friday because it completely misses you guys. The Canadian's very nice with snow across Massachusetts, though. But again, the Canadian sees all of this cold air out east as we approach New Year's Eve, and then some big ridging in the plains. The Canadian resembles the GFS more. What's it look like now through January 2nd for snow? Wisconsin. Let's go back to our 12Z Euro. Not seeing any major snowstorms. We'll see if this drops down here. You get a nice baroclinic zone right here. Again, we could have a snowstorm in here. It's possible. It's possible. 27, 28 out there in the Midwest. It depends how this system sets up. But overall, not too crazy for Wisconsin. Below average. As we get towards New Year's Eve and not a ton of snow. Again, this is going to be interesting here. What happens on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. This could be a big snowstorm for Wisconsin if you're traveling there. December 31st to January 2nd. Watch that time frame. Jersey snow tomorrow. Here's the expected amount from the National Weather Service. Really, unless you're in northern Jersey. Northern Jersey could get 1 to 3 inches. Central, maybe dusting. Maybe up to a ½ inch. Depends, but there's going to be a little bit of warm air behind that, so I wouldn't hold on to this. Friday's going to be your storm if you do get some nice snow in Jersey. What are the top 3 Red Bulls? What, in my opinion, Allie? or like actually, which ones are in there? Well, I love me some regular Red Bull, like the normal flavor, generic Red Bull. I honestly don't love any other flavor of Red Bull. I just sometimes get bored of the normal one. Tropical's pretty good though. The yellow one, I'd say it's probably in my top 3. And then the green one's not bad. I don't like the pink one at all, by the way. I don't like the pink Red Bull. The green one's not bad. The yellow Red Bull and the normal one's probably my favorite. I haven't had, there's like a light blue or white Red Bull I have to try. I haven't even tried that one. You want to say hi to the stream?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here. Ready? Okay, come sit on my lap. All right, he wants to say hi to you real quick. Say hi, stream.
Hey, hi, stream.
You don't have to say the say hi. Just go, hi, stream.
Hey, hi, stream.
You still said it. All right, I'll be done soon. Go get out there. Is Santa coming in a few days? Yeah.
Santa's coming.
All right, guys. Holy crap, I got even more Red Bull boxes outside. I have another like 140 Red Bull that I haven't put away. I don't think I have enough space for it. Like, I'm not buying all this Red Bull, guys. I get it for free. Because my cousin works for the company. Winter weather advisory posted for New York. Yep, I believe that. Maybe it's Juneberry. Maybe it is. Better start drinking. No, my mods get mad at me. What are the snow totals for Long Island for the Friday storm? Depends what you look at. If you want to look at the safest, let's go to the National Blend for Friday. This is going to be conservative, though. I think that snow totals usually end up being higher than what the National Blend sees because it has to account for some storms that it has to account for some storms or some of the model runs that don't show snow. So it's going to show a low end here. Let's go up to New England. Here's the National Blend of models currently for snow. Again, usually this is conservative. Usually it's being very safe, and it's showing less snow than a lot of times what ends up falling. So you look at New York City on the National Blend, you see around 3.5 inches. It wouldn't be surprising if you got 5 then, right? Or 6. But this is a conservative way to look at it. This is snow from now until Saturday. This is how the National Blend sees it. I just said some Red Bull his way. I should just start giving away boxes of Red Bull. Yeah, you know, this is tough, though, because there's going to be such a sharp cutoff here of snow. Somewhere here. Could be here. Could be here. Could be here. Where it's going to be all ice and slush. So I think the National Blend is not going to do a good job of knowing what happens in this region. It's tough there. Your totals could be way up in this area or way lower. In my opinion, what am I thinking? Let me look at something on stream with you guys. Let's see. Okay. This is what I want to look at. All right. Let's take a look at the progression here. 500 millibar height and vorticity map. All right. So, what is causing this snowstorm? Well, why? One second, guys. Hold up. Give me a second. Hold up. Look at the 850 real quick. I'm going to go to 500, actually, yeah. Okay. Here we go, getting into Friday. Here's our cold air. Here's our storm system, our low-pressure system down to the south. So how these interact is what's going to determine what happens here with this system. Now, this is a clipper, so I'm not... it's much easier if I can look at a trough and decide if I think this thing's going to positively neutral or negatively tilt. Just give me a second. This is the timing right here on Thursday. This is what's going to change everything. We have a consistent northwesterly flow. And eventually this ridge begins to settle and begins to collapse a tiny bit. Wednesday, Thursday, what happens with this ridge right here is going to completely determine if Philly gets snow, how much snow Central Jersey gets, if New York City gets snow. This ridge that's like this eventually is going to start to flatten. Look at Thursday. See how it starts to drop right there? Thursday into Friday morning, that ridge starts to drop. That's interesting on the 18Z of the Euro. That's why it's starting to see more snow. You start to get a flattening ridge here. And then suddenly you have all the cold air for snow. Let me look at the GFS on this. And the GFS has that ridge compressed much quicker, which is why it shows so much snow. This is compressed much quicker. I like the way this looks. I like the way this clipper looks for Jersey and New York City snow right now. Look at that. I do like the way this looks. Man, okay. So let's go to okay. Okay, let's go back to the national blend. It's actually, I thought I wouldn't like it. Okay. Mid-Atlantic. Okay, so here's the national blend through Friday. I'll get on board with, right now I'll get on board with 3+ inches north of this line and 5+ inches north of that line. I think this area is going to be the big wild card. Lots of ice, lots of sleet. It's going to be a wild card. But I think you could get 3. I think you could get 3+ here easily. I think you could get 5+ here easily. Oh crap. One second, guys. All right, let me go back here. National Blend's still loading on this too. Allentown, I mean, I kind of showed Allentown on there, didn't I? I mean, Allentown would be probably in the 4 to 5 range with what I was just showing there. Hey, Connor Trout, wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well, Kim. When will snow in the south happen? I don't see the possibility of a setup for that until at least late in the second week of January into the third week of January, but it's possible. I bet well, the problem is this little trend in this trend of this Friday snow going to the south is good for Philly and Jersey and New York City, but it's not fantastic for Boston. Boston still sees snow though with this. Boston's still likely to see okay accumulation before December's wrapped up here. So, all right, guys, I got to get off. I'm going to do my video tomorrow morning, and it's going to be, I will talk about Friday's storm. I'll tell you how much snow I think. I'll give you my snow forecast for Friday's snowstorm. Of course, PA, Jersey, New York City, Long Island, upstate New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Potentially, we'll see if we get up there into Vermont, New Hampshire. But I'll talk about that storm. I'll give you an updated New Year's Eve forecast from me as well. And if I have time, again, just a busy end of the year for me, I'll stream tomorrow morning as well. Try to stream sometime 7 a.m. to 8:30, something like that, maybe earlier if I get up early enough. I appreciate all you being in here. I appreciate all the support. I saw some subs, some new follows, gifts. You guys are incredible. Seriously, I appreciate you. Mods, you're sorry I'm a little low on energy. Work's been kicking my butt. But I got a lot of time off ahead here. I'm taking 10 days of PTO into next year too. So it'll be a nice break that I have coming up here soon, but I'll probably take some of that break to focus on weather and doing this stuff a little bit more. But you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I'm trying to get back to posting live streaming every single day like I was for a while. We're going to get back into that. Everyone, have a great night, and I'm going to be back tomorrow. All right. See you guys. Peace.